Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Thursday, November 15th, 2018. It's 7:52 a.m. and it's time to start your day with the greatest morning show ever. So, folks, it's a very cold, icy day here in my neck of the woods, but it's going to be a really hot show because we got some hot takes on Brie Larson, a.k.a. Captain Marvel, a.k.a. Human Foot Garbage. Also, the douche ranger, a.k.a. Armie Hammer, the Lone Ranger, the failed Batman. He's in here too. We're also going to be talking about Ghostbusters, Dave Grohl, and a few other things. So get yourselves ready. Get yourselves to work. If you're working and lurking on your way to school, no matter where you are, get strapped in and get ready for Good Morning Pop Culture. So as I look out my window, it looks like December. There's a Christmas wreath, a bunch of ice, and it's cold as balls outside. But even though the power went out briefly and shut off our internet again today because of weird weather and stuff like that, we're back. We're here. We're ready to start the show. And I think some of you missed me yesterday. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm not. But don't worry, I'm here. I'm back with another day of Good Morning Pop Culture. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight, we have World Class Bullshitters episode 149. One more till 150. But as I told you guys, 150 is not going to be next week on Thanksgiving. Why? Because no one's going to watch it. So we decided we're going to put off and we're going to put out something special for you guys next Thursday on Thanksgiving. Am I going to tell you what it is? No, I'm not. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to wait and find out. But trust me, you're going to love it. It's very seasonal. It's very fun. And it'll make you cry a little bit, maybe, depending on your stance on family. But you're just going to wait and find out on Thursday. I don't know exactly how Good Morning Pop Culture is going to work next week. I know Wednesday I have something to do. So we will keep you updated on our schedule for a holiday week. But it's a holiday and family comes first. So you guys understand. You guys get it. And the closer we get to Christmas, we'll have to do a couple things like that as well. But that's okay. There's so many days till Christmas. Like 40 days till Christmas. So you don't have to worry about anything in the near future. Just a heads up for those who depend on Good Morning Pop Culture the way I depend on coffee. So now let's see where we are in terms of view counts. Oh, we are almost there. More than halfway. 75% of the way there. Let's get those numbers to 200 and we can start today's show. Like I said, tonight is episode 149. I don't really know what we're going to be talking about yet. We'll play a little game. We'll have some fun. And just another heads up to our patrons out there. We did talk about doing World Class Bullshitters episode 150, the Patreon edition, which we've recorded, which sucks, so that'll never see the light of day. But I just want to let you guys know that we did make it, and I'm just not going to release it because it's that bad. So don't think we forgot you. We're going to come up with all kinds of great exclusive things for our patrons so you guys know how much we appreciate what you do for this channel. And if you guys have recommendations or suggestions, let me know. As you also know, December 1st, 2018, which is a Saturday, is going to be our Star Wars all-day stream. Kendo took the day off. Nick took the day off. A couple of our listeners have requested specific movies. A New Hope is taken. We're going to allow 1 to 2 patrons per movie, and then we're going to have to rotate. And you can't stay for successive films. But we're going to do that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if that's a success, well, then we'll do a Star Wars story commentary. I know. It hurts me, too. You guys see the Blu-ray sales for that movie? Not enough to save the bitch fest of a box office. So let me see. I really want to start today's show hot. The Pui, thank you very, very much, the Pui. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Pui. I sent you something to the P.O. box. Ooh, I need to go check the P.O. box out. I went on Saturday to the P.O. box, and for some reason, well, actually not for some reason, the mailbox closed at 1 o'clock, and I got there at 10 after, so I know the exact reason why I missed out on the P.O. box. I was late. So I'll go take care of that possibly today, depending upon the weather. If not, I'm going to stand here. I've been working on Stealing Solo every day. And once we get through that, it'll be a lot of fun. So we are well past 200. So let's start talking about Brie Larson, garbage individual or just unaware? So let me show you guys the exact thing we're going to be talking about. Get prepared because this is going to be kind of a hot, spicy take. I'm not going to pull too many punches, as I shouldn't. As you know, we love the MCU here on this channel. It is there are no qualms about that. We love, no doubt about that, excuse me, that we love the MCU. We talk about it all the time, watch the movies, have a lot of fun. Shit, last night I sat down and watched Winter Soldier for about 20 minutes as I waited for my other art computer to update. So that was a lot of fun. Not. But you guys know we're very passionate about geek culture. There's no gatekeeping involved. If anything, we're all about everybody getting in on the fun, but the other side, this NPC weird social police crowd, they're the ones that want to make it smaller and smaller and smaller by pushing out people that genuinely like this stuff, genuinely love this stuff. And now Brie Larson is the face of the demise of the MCU proper. If you didn't think her crap about A Wrinkle in Time was enough, if you didn't think her Captain Marvel needs to go out and vote shit was enough, well, then this should really set you over the edge, because every time this woman appears publicly via social media or says something stupid on TV, the Captain Marvel box office falls by 5%. And if you think that is a extreme case, the more she says, the more we learn about her, the less people will like about her. So this is in regard to Stan Lee's passing, which we have covered, we talked about greatly. And very sad to hear about Stan Lee's passing, but he lived a hell of a life. And if you want to hear us eulogize him, hear me eulogize him, well, then you guys know what to do. There's 2 videos. The opening of the Tuesday Good Morning Pop Culture covered it as well. I was saddened, but hey, he lived a great life. He left a huge impact on all of our lives. So Salvador, thank you very much. Mama said that NPCs are so ornery because they got all that soy hate and no ground to stand on. Morning, Jeff. Salvador, morning to you, dude. That was awesome. I like that. I love the Water Boy. I want to take a screenshot of that one. I'm going to share that with Ethan and Jeremy. They're going to like that one. So let me start talking about Captain Marvel, because you guys, you may have not heard about this. I heard about it through our wonderful Facebook group, and just a shout out to all of them out there who keep me up to date on everything. So if you want to help out and get involved in that manner, just join our Facebook page. Doesn't cost anything, and you'll make some friends in the process. So we keep talking about how Captain Marvel will signal the end of the MCU golden age. We keep talking about how Brie Larson has a stink on her that she's going to bring to these movies and kill the future of Marvel. Some people like to cry sexism for even thinking about the idea that she's not this perfect entity. She opened her mouth in the past and caused some concern, but now she's even wider and inserted her whole furry foot in there. Breakfast. So the death of Stanley has brought out the biggest and the brightest stars to come out and pay their respects to the man. Robert Downey Jr., The Rock, Aerosmith, Christopher Lloyd, and many, many more were there to honor Stan Lee. But one sarcastic, cowardly Instagram post, which was promptly deleted, called to question the validity, the concern, the honestness behind those memories of Stan Lee. So Bounding Into Comics has the story. And this is a doozy of a story. Captain Marvel actress Brie Larson receives backlash over Instagram tribute to Stan Lee. Captain Marvel actress Brie Larson put out a tribute to the late, great Stan Lee, but quickly deleted the photo after she received backlash. By the way, that's what you're looking at on screen. In a now deleted Instagram post, the Captain Marvel actress posted a photo of herself holding up what looks like some kind of a mixed drink. She's captioned in the photo saying, "Thank you," or "Thinking about Stan Lee, what a legend, rest in peace." It seems that she may have felt the need to quickly delete the post due to massive negative feedback from people online. For many, they felt that the post was insensitive and not heartfelt. They also criticized the post for believing honoring Stan Lee with this photo was merely an afterthought. On Twitter, many users called out Brie Larson for what they believed to be her insensitivity. And I'm not going to read you a lot of these tweets. You guys can check them out yourself. Larson isn't the only Marvel Studios actress who had to delete her tribute to Stan Lee after backlash. Gwyneth Paltrow, who plays Pepper Potts, deleted hers as well. This isn't the first time Larson had issues with social media misfires. When she recently criticized for using her role as Captain Marvel for the upcoming Marvel Studios film to get people to vote in the recent midterm election. And most recent social media misfire isn't an isolated incident. Larson previously got upset with a TSA agent for asking for her phone number. She would go on to insinuate the TSA agent was harassing her and that she constantly has to live life in the defense because she's a woman. And then the article says, what do you think of this? Is this a classic example of someone being totally out of touch and lacking self-awareness, or was this a simple mistake made by the Captain Marvel actress? Well, once, twice, 3 strikes, you're out. Brie, this is your 3rd time doing stupid shit. So I find this incredibly troublesome. I am literally shaking. I am full of shit if I honestly say those phrases. I actually think that the red flags that I've been concerned about for the longest time are becoming more and more of a valid concern each and every single day. This actress, is really living up to the perceived selfish attitude that I think she has. Brie Larson isn't a fan of comic books or a fan of Marvel films. I believe that she was chosen because she's young enough to lead the next wave of MCU films for this girl power initiative that Kevin Feige has been twisted into doing. If the Captain Marvel film will show us what makes her a hero, then I think this post shows her what if I could speak this morning, excuse me. I think this post shows her for what she truly is, a sarcastic twat. Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, is just a person who doesn't get it and doesn't care. I don't look at this as a mistake. Oh, she's trying to honor Stan Lee. This was a sarcastic post. If she was genuine, if this was an earnest memorial for Brie Larson, she would have deleted it. She would have stuck with it, much like all these other people who stick with their eulogies for Stan Lee. I don't remember Brie Larson coming out, and I could be wrong. If you find the quote, please send it to me. But I don't recall Brie Larson coming out to defend Stan Lee during the elder abuse allegations or during the end of his life where it was ruined by liars and cheaters and fucking thieves. No, I don't remember Brie Larson coming to the defense of Stan Lee. She's a hero, a hero. Well, no, you're not. I've seen people like Hugh Jackman, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Tobey Maguire. All these people come out to pay their respects to Stan Lee because those are people who played superheroes co-created by Stan Lee, with the exception of Captain America, of course, and had their lives changed overnight because of the success of those films, because of the success and the lineage of those characters. To Brie Larson, this is just another job. It's a role. It's a lot of money. So she can buy her $5,000 sweatsuit and look like a hipster with a big bank account. Brie, I don't know you personally. I will never know you personally. And I don't want to know you personally. I just don't think that your shitty disposition belongs in the MCU, because you will have people that will defend you for, I don't know, political, ideological reasons. But in the meantime, all it does is chip away at the spirit of the MCU each and every time you open your goddamn mouth. Now, speaking of sarcastic twats, let's talk about one that's irrelevant as well. Armie Hammer. Press 1 if you know. You know what? Don't even press 1 if you know Armie Hammer. You don't. No one does. No one cares. So if you have heard of him, he was the failed Lone Ranger. He was the almost Batman. He was the douche talking shit online. He went out of his way to chastise those for remembering Stan Lee, again, in a douche-like manner. Thankfully, his irrelevant ass did away with it. Our friend, Javier Bardem Morgan, or as he's actually called, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, called him out on social media. And I wanted to applaud Javier Bardem Morgan for what he did and said. So this information comes from IndieWire. And you know what? Let me take away this picture of Captain Marvel so you guys don't puke. There. Oh, no, God, I clicked on it. I'm looking at it now. Shit, that is not the plan. The plan is to make you suffer looking at Brie Larson. Oops, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Javier Bardem Morgan, a.k.a. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, had this to say. Jeffrey Dean Morgan joined the growing backlash against Armie Hammer after the Call Me By Your Name star took to social media to criticize how comic book and film fans were mourning the late Stan Lee. In a since-deleted tweet posted on November 12th, the day of Stan Lee's passing, Armie took issue with fans posting pictures of themselves to honor the comic book legend. So touched by all of these celebrities posting pictures of themselves with Stan Lee, Hammer said on social media, no better way to commemorate an absolute legend than putting yourself up a picture of yourself. Hammer elaborated on his opinion when he replied to a fan. If Stan impacted your life, i.e. all of our lives, with his work, post his work that touched you the most. Posting a selfie makes his death about you and how cool you felt taking a picture with him. Morgan called out Hammer for being something of a hypocrite for sharing these thoughts on the day of Lee's passing. Looks like you found a way to use others' ways of mourning and their memories to draw some attention to yourself, the actor said. You sound like a real asshat. Hammer later pointed to Mark Ruffalo's tribute as being an example of an appropriate one. Ruffalo, who stars as Bruce Banner / the Hulk in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, posted a tribute to Stanley on his own social media pages with a photo of a comic book legend posing next to a Hulk statue. So then Hammer goes on to say how that's the right way to, as if Armie Hammer is the fucking moral center of all this. He's not Jimmy Kimmel. He doesn't get to dictate who and what is said and how it's said. I like how Jeffrey Dean Morgan put him in his place. You sound like an asshat. You really do sound like an asshat, Armie Hammer. The day the guy dies, you go out of your way to bring attention to yourself. I mean, Armie Hammer must be in some movie that's coming out this weekend, because when I typed in Armie Hammer on Twitter as a hashtag, a little bitty face popped up, and not everybody gets that. First off, Armie Hammer's slightly older than I am. Fuck you for being born in the 80s. I know that's completely off the reservation, but hey, I feel that way. But Armie Hammer, this was just the worst time to possibly do this. I don't know, it's tasteless. That's all I can say, is it's very tasteless. He is irrelevant to me. He's irrelevant to a lot of you. And I hope this sticks with him for quite a while. Now, I have a question for everyone out there. What do both of these situations have in common? Well, the original poster doesn't have the balls to keep their posts live. They hide, they delete them. They are truly the definition of a coward. Captain Marvel, Kmart, Batman, both of you need to do two things. Know your role and shut your mouth. I don't think geek culture is the time or place to be a self-obsessed asshole. Even somebody like Robert Downey Jr., who plays Tony Stark, in the real world does good, human, humble things. Ever see the video of him giving the kid the robotic arm? Probably haven't. Definitely should. You ever heard the stories about Christian Bale going to visit those kids that got shot at the movie theater after The Dark Knight Rises? Probably haven't. Probably should. You see, those are people that become real-life superheroes. Tom Holland, that plays Spider-Man, visits sick kids. Captain America visits sick kids. All of them do these nice, real-life, heroic things. What does Brie Larson do? What does Armie Hammer do? Nothing. They sit in a shitty cafe, they drink grapefruit juice, and they bitch about shit, and they make fun of people for mourning legend. The funniest part is when they pass away, no one will care. There will not be tributes. There will not be Hollywood walks of stars, walks of fame for these people. Does Brie Larson have one? Probably not. She has an Oscar. Good for her. You know who else has an Oscar? Lots of people that you don't hear about to this day. What does Armie Hammer have? A good-looking wife. That's about it. So good for him there. But when they die, what will happen? Nothing. Lone Ranger star Armie Hammer passes away. Okay. Captain Marvel star Brie Larson passes away. Okay. Maybe some of these garbage tier websites will write a eulogy about how Captain Marvel broke down the barriers of female superheroes. And then you'll realize Wonder Woman came out about a year before. Supergirl, Catwoman, all the women in the Avengers. Captain Marvel's really not a first for anything. So don't be jealous, Brie. Don't be jealous, Armie Hammer, that people love and respect Stanley and that people don't know who you are for the most part. I think this was very tasteless. I think this was very poorly done and poorly timed. Like I said, if it was genuine, if you cared, you wouldn't have posted this garbage and then deleted it. You would have stuck by it. I saw Christopher Lloyd post a picture of himself with Stanley. If Doc Brown considers Stanley important, well, then goddamn it, Stanley is important. But I already knew that, and so did you. So let's hear what you guys have to say about this stuff. We had some super chats roll in this morning. So E. Michael says, do you think that the mouse went through Stanley's house and took stuff like what the government did to Tesla? No, not at all. I don't think, what did Stanley have? What would they do? I mean, Tesla was this inventor that the government wanted his ideas and his patents and his blueprints. Stanley just sold everything. So Disney has most of it anyway. I don't think they did anything of that like that. I'll tell you what they did do is they didn't put out a a tweet in a timely manner. Like I said on the High Council the other night, DC Comics beat Marvel by an hour to the punch about, oh, remembering Stanley. And when they did, they just put up some garbage thing like, oh, remembering Stanley and Icon. It's like, what the fuck? You created your fucking jobs. At least show some respect with an Excelsior or something cool. But, that's just not that's not the case. So Michael, no, I do not think the government did or Disney did anything like that with Stanley. There's a documentary that shows Stanley's home. It was just, the thing is, we all love Stan Lee and we remember him a certain way and all the work he created and stuff, but he was just an old guy. Go watch the documentary. It shows him and his wife living their normal lives, and they're just like your grandma and grandpa. They're just normal people. That was one of my favorite Stan Lee things, because it's just like, yeah, he may have done all this stuff and been in all these movies and done all these crazy things, but at the end of the day, he's just a guy. John Tennant, thank you very much actually. What an effing bitch! Not even worth recycling. Not seeing Captain Manverse or any other movie she's ever in, including Avengers 4. What a sorry excuse for a lady. Ooh, harsh words. John Tennant, yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, I'm going to see Avengers because I got to see the finale. Captain Marvel, I could honestly not see and not give a shit about. But what I will say is, if that is how you feel, then I strongly suggest you go through with it. That is a very, very poorly conceived Instagram post. For as dumb and stupid as I found, dumb and stupid, same word, just said different ways, for as out of place as the Captain Marvel go out and tweet. Now, it's not, or go out and vote, and it's not like Brie Larson did it. She took Captain Marvel and made it Marvel's flagship telling you to vote a certain way. That's where I had my problem. I don't care if, you go out and vote differently than I do. That's not really what any of this is about. But as a company who wants to make money for a lot of from a lot of people, and is this great brand that is for everybody, well, then don't have your next in line really represent one side of an argument and cause so many problems going forward. Because, guys, I hate to break it to you, you can push all this shit down our throats, but people just won't show up to your movies. And then it'll kill every other comic book movie because they think, well, comic book movies are over. They're cold product. People don't want them anymore. No, people don't want your version of comic book movies. So I don't like Brie Larson anymore. I liked her in 21 Jump Street and Kong Skull Island a lot. I thought those two movies were damn good. And they're not going to change my stance on 21 Jump Street or Kong Skull Island. But Captain Marvel will be watched for the channel. It's not a film I'm excited for. I really don't care. Much like Black Panther, they should come out after the Avengers because people are going to be focused on the Avengers. Black Panther made money for being Marvel's first black-led superhero film, and they made it into a big cultural thing because there hasn't been a black superhero film ever. Actually, there hadn't been one in like a decade or so. So I guess people had forgotten in like the 14 years since Blade Trinity. But that's okay. This Captain Marvel thing, it doesn't get to ride on the goodwill of, oh, first female. Nope. Wonder Woman beat you. All these other things beat you. The norm. Marvel, that was their first mistake by letting DC get Wonder Woman out first. Because Gal Gadot is a very classy lady, and she presents herself in a very good way that represents the best of DC. Captain Marvel represents the best of Marvel, which is truly its worst at this point. It is just a garbage company. It's like a cancer. You need to just cut out so much of it. And what will be left is a hollow shell. There will be the faint outlines of what Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Don Heck, John Romita, John Buscema, Jim Mooney, Flo Steinberg, all these people, Marie Severin, John Severin, Martin Goodman, all these people will be a shell of all the things that those people created for marketing reasons, but the soul, the heart, the spirit of all these things are gone. So, John Tennant, again, thank you very, very much. DeMille Jr., thank you as well. Armie Hammer, I can't take seriously a guy named after baking soda. Yeah. What is his actual name? So his real name is Armand Douglas Armie Hammer. Okay, so he is an Armand. And where is he from? He's from Santa Monica, California. Yeah, I don't take him seriously. I don't like him. Here's the thing. Before this garbage, I didn't dislike him. He was just like, Armie Hammer. Didn't make it as Batman. Lone Ranger was a fucking flop. And now I'm just like, no thank you. Come on, man. Now's not the time. And for those wondering, the Lone Ranger had a budget of $225 to $250 million. It made $260.5 million. Was a flop. But Jeff, it made $10 million. No, it didn't. You got to take into account marketing and everything else. The movie was a flop, a giant flop for Disney. So, yeah, in the U.S. alone, it was a flop too. $89 million. So John Carter and the Lone Ranger were Disney's most recent flops, and that's why we get constant. A Wrinkle in Time wasn't a hit either. It seems like their live-action non-remakes just can't make them money. Disney, what's the situation? Dayton Pfeiffer, thank you very much. Glad to hear that Negan put Armie Hammer in his place. He really did. He put Armie Hammer in his place. He said, "Listen, you're an asshat." Maybe it's about people from California. Both Brie Larson and Armie Hammer both come from California. Maybe it's in the water. Maybe there's soy in the water. I don't know. Maybe it's in the air. Have you ever seen Beverly Hills Cop 2? There's a lot of smog in California, and it's not a small hole like they reckon in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. It's just soy everywhere. Ethan would be so proud of me right now. That's only why I do this. I just joke. I digress. But I do I just have problems with this, man. I don't know what else to say about all of these things. It's so distasteful. And it's not about Stan Lee and grave standing on Stan Lee. It's the same day in Armie Hammer's case. He didn't even get, Stan Lee wasn't even in cold yet, and Armie Hammer's making snide remarks about it. Good for you, Armie. Good for you. And then Brie Larson, I would think that at least Brie Larson would put out something a little more respectful. Why not put out the goddamn picture of you in the Captain Marvel suit? At least then, if people say, well, Brie Larson or Captain Marvel, was Captain Marvel even created by Stan Lee? Let me look. No, he wasn't. She was created by Roy Thomas and Gene Colan. The Marvel was created by Stan Lee, but the one that everybody knows, what's her fucking name? Where's she at? Trying to find Carol Danvers. Oh well, here we go. Carol Danvers right here. No, wasn't really. You want to hear something funny? In July 2012, Carol Danvers, the longtime superhero known as Miss Marvel, assumed the mantle of Captain Marvel in an ongoing series written by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by Dexter Soy. I don't know if that's real. That's all I can say. Miss Marvel, there we go. Yeah, again, created by Jerry Conway and John Buscema. So no Stan Lee intervention at all. But if she would have put out something along those lines of her in the suit, said something respectful about Stan Lee, I could understand if somebody makes a mistake about, oh, well, that really wasn't a Stan Lee creation. It's like Captain America, not a Stan Lee creation. So I could understand that. That would at least seem heartfelt and respectful. This isn't the case. Mr. V, thank you very much. Morning, Jeff. Want to have a good laugh? Let's watch Captain Marvel weird trailer together. Is that what I think it is? That guy that does those great ones? Let me see. I'll just see what it is first. My computer didn't type that. Marvel weird trailer. Can't speak this morning. Getting over a cold. Yep, Aldo Jones. I love these videos. I love these so much. We'll take a poll. Do people want to do this? Press 1 if you want to do this. I'm looking at the chat. For those wondering about my weather, it is like an ice storm outside. It sucks. I had technical issues yesterday, but the messed up part is at 7:40 this morning, I went to click on a new tab and it said no internet connection. I looked, I was like, shit, because my power flickered for literally a second, and it was enough to wipe out the router and reset the modem. I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I can't do 2 days. I was moments away from saying, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to record this from my phone and we're going to talk and have Good Morning Pop Culture over my phone. And thankfully it came back about 30 seconds later. But I was dedicated. I wasn't going to miss 2 days in a row over some bullshit. No. It is terrible out here. Thankfully, there are no like, it was funny. My mom talked to me this morning and she said, "Oh, I can't wait to, retire, this, that, and the other." I said, and she talked about living somewhere else. I said, "Well, let's be glad we don't live in Florida or California." I said, "There are all these wildfires in California and people are losing their homes and all these terrible things are happening." And then I said, "In Florida, you have hurricanes, tornadoes, all this shit that affects Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers all the time." And I said, "I could deal with the cold. I'm just glad we don't have natural disasters." So 007 Class says, "I love Toby in those trailers." Okay, it seems like a lot of people want to do this. There's 479 viewers. So if you're listening and you're like, "What are they talking about?" Well, it's only 4 minutes long. So I'm going to okay, we'll do it since you requested it. I'm kind of a sucker. If you request it in the super chat, I'll probably do it. So here's the link for everyone out there that wants to check it out. Join us in the avant-garde of the new aesthetic. You guys know what that means. If you do, I'm very proud to call you my friends. Where are my headphones? There they are. Okay. I usually put shit to the left of me. They were put to the right of me. Okay, guys, so we've done live reactions for Good Morning Pop Culture before. We're going to do this one again. This was a request from our friend, Mr. V. So, Mr. V, thank you for everything you do for the channel. And let's start. So, everybody, I'm going to give you another minute, and then we're going to do this. And yes, listen to Alpha Mardatilus. Hit the muff button. Hit that like button. Give us a thumbs up. We're doing really well. The channel's been doing great. Let's keep it rolling together. We can make World Class Bullshitters a household name, and we can take over everything. There may be a Jer army, but I got you guys. Get Van Damme on the show, like Jean-Claude Van Damme or Rob Van Damme. Well, you spelled it as Jean-Claude, so I guess I should have, assumed that. Swinging Cod, thank you very much for your super chat. You also have to deal with Florida, man, in Florida. Oh God, it's all those news stories that Kendo tells are crazy. And right now in my area, there's this big murder that just got solved, and this controversy. It's what's it called? Something murders. I'll find out. Who cares? You don't care about the murders in my town. So why not both on the show? If RVD and JCVD want to come on World Class Bullshitters, they're more than welcome to. RVD is one of my favorite wrestlers, and JCVD is the shit. So, folks, I sent you the link. We're going to watch this as a first because of Mr. V request. So everybody get the timestamp set to 0 and press play. Hold on. Let me send it to you one more time just to make sure everyone has it because the chat is live as every day. That's all I can say. You guys are always here kicking ass. I appreciate you. So, about the Jeremy, I'm pulling double duty. Oh, you're both. Okay. Well, that's okay. You can be in both the JR Army and a World Class Bullshitters fan. A friend of World Class Bullshitters. All right, so let's get that set to 0 and press play right now. And there's a turd. Holy shit. Doctor Who, all right. I love these so much. We refuse to buy Netflix. How does this guy make these videos? Okay, Tobey Maguire's here. How does he make these? Is all I want to know. These are excellent. Oh shit, she shot him. She shot Jules. And Tommy was so too. I haven't seen Up All the Way. Is that Grown Ups? Ah, Bill Cosby. Let's play a game. How can Brie Larson find this offensive? Ugh. Ah. She punched the baby. Oh, Aquaman makes an appearance. I dig it. This is like memes in Marvel coming together. I love it. A Super Saiyan. All right. Oh, she scared Thanos. How do these not have more views? That's all I can say. Or they have a lot of views, but how does he not have more subscribers? What a fantastic concept. We watched the we used to watch the one with Avengers. We watch it all the time. We go to Phil's house and we drink and have a lot of fun with that. That was the best one, but this was damn good. So thank you, Mr. V, for suggesting that. And thanks for everyone who stuck with it. What is this? I'm leaving. But no, thank you. So let's start talking about something else that's really, really stupid, too. Look at your screen. Look at it. And if you're not looking at it, you're listening to the audio recording later on. Well, we're talking about Ghostbusters 3. So yesterday, I believe, the news came out that Dan Aykroyd, well, today, according to this article, but I heard this last night, Dan Aykroyd says Ghostbusters 3 is being written right now, and he thinks Bill Murray will join too. The story, so good. It's been nearly 30 years since Ghostbusters 2 and almost 35 since Ghostbusters, but the classic comedies might finally be getting the follow-up fans have been waiting for. Are you telling me that Ghostbusters 2016 wasn't what all fans really wanted? The all-female revival written by Paul Feig, poorly made, not funny, bitched at by people online and talked down to by Sony. Oh, yeah, that wasn't it. The main cast featured Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, Ernie Hudson, Rick Moranis, and the late Harold Ramis. After answering the same question for 3 decades, now Aykroyd has confirmed that another movie is currently in the works. Speaking during an episode of AXS TV's The Big Interview with Dan Rather, Aykroyd said, "There's a possibility of a reunion with the 3 remaining Ghostbusters. It's being written right now." Those 3 remaining Ghostbusters would include himself, Hudson, and Murray. But although Murray has never been that interested in a reboot, Aykroyd thinks he'll actually sign up for this one. I think Bill will come. The story is so good. Even if he plays a ghost, he said, referring to an idea that Murray came up with years ago. Of course, there's no guarantee this movie will actually ever happen, given there's been so many false starts at this point. But it's the first time Aykroyd sounded so confident about one since the 2016 all-female reboot. It's safe to assume that this film wouldn't be connected to Paul Feig's Ghostbusters either. Firstly, because it was a bit of a box office bomb and it didn't impress the critics all that much. And secondly, because the original cast cameos completely different characters in it, meaning that they're likely set in a different universe. So Ghostbusters, again, it all comes back to this stupid Ghostbusters 2016. I know a lot of people are getting in on this one. They're really, really passionate about the Ghostbusters. But Shane of Cyber 9 Avila says, Ghostbusters 3 was already made. It's called The Game. Yeah, man. Dude, you're preaching to the choir on the Ghostbusters game love. I bought that the first day it came out because, like a lot of people, I grew up with Ghostbusters. I wasn't alive when the first one came out, and I was a wee lad when the second one was out, under a year old. But Ghostbusters, no matter what, if you grew up in the 90s, you grew up liking Ghostbusters to some degree. It was on TV some afternoons. It was old enough to where it would show up on non-cable TV regularly, but it was also popular enough that it would show up on big nights on TV as well. So Ghostbusters has always been something I loved, and the game was the perfect ending to the story, the saga. No more Ghostbusters needed to be made. I don't look at this news from Dan Aykroyd as anything but posturing. And I love Dan Aykroyd. I mean, seriously, Dan Aykroyd, I'm a fan of his work in movies. I like his paranormal stuff that he talks about. He seems like an all-around good dude. If I could hang out with one of the Ghostbusters in real life, it would be Dan Aykroyd. Plus, you know, he's been in countless other movies like Trading Places, The Great Outdoors, Spies Like Us, My Girl. Dan Aykroyd, Tommy Boy. Dan Aykroyd's been in a ton of stuff. He's had a fantastic career. I just don't think Ghostbusters 3 is going to work at all, because Ghostbusters 2016 is how you kill an IP. Let's play a quick game. Jeff's simple rules to kill an IP. First off, you belittle the fans. You constantly shit on people that like it the way it was. Sound familiar? Hi, Kathleen. Secondly, you put out crap that people don't want to buy, and you pump it out in high numbers, and then you mark it down really quickly so people can buy it on the cheap, but they don't even buy it on the cheap. When Toys R Us died, there were still Ghostbusters lady action figures there. Third, you talk about the thing people wanted after the thing people didn't want came out. So in Dan Aykroyd's case, he's talking about Ghostbusters 3. Dan, it's 2018, bro. Ghostbusters died in 2016 when Sony and Paul Feig and Amy Pascal and all these other assholes came out to rail the fans. Oh, you're sexist for not liking this. You need to grow up. Fanboy tears, this, that, and the other. Excuse me, I'm mixing Star Wars with Ghostbusters now. It's all the same shit. It's a ploy to ruin what came before, to take the old franchises, to dig them up, to try to jolt them full of life, infuse them with your garbage modern-day politics, and then take the lifeless husk with the IP, put it out in the world. Who are you going to call? Well, nobody's going to answer the call this time. I don't think Ghostbusters came out a couple years ago. I don't care how much Bill Murray would get involved, or Sigourney Weaver, or even Rick Moranis himself coming out of retirement wouldn't excite me. Louis Tully, great character, love him to death. It just isn't enough. If it was Louis and Janine and Egon, well, Egon's passed away sadly, and Winston and all the other guys, if they're all in the movie and the story is really, really great, I may catch it on a second weekend. But just from a personal standpoint, not even a channel standpoint, as a guy who loves Ghostbusters, Bustin' makes me feel good. Check that song out, by the way. It kicks ass. I just have no interest in it. And now let me see what you guys have to say, because this is so bizarre that this information comes out. I know, like I said, I know he's just trying to drum up information or excitement. And like I said, I love Dan Aykroyd, but this is just not the time to do it. So Alpha Terranema says, did they learn nothing from Blues Brothers 2000? Alpha Terranema, I had forgotten about Blues Brothers 2000 and its terrible video game adaptation, the bad movie. Look, John Goodman can do a lot of things. Replace John Belushi is not one of them. Blues Brothers 2000 was shit. My God, is it bringing back some bad memories? You know what? I'm going to show you guys Blues Brothers 2000, the game, real quick. On the Nintendo 64, and it was just terrible. I remember renting it. I've told you guys about that year we had the Blockbuster card. If I typed in a second, the fourth year there, Blues Brothers 2000. I can't really find. Here we go. I found a picture of the cartridge, because I can't really find a good picture of the box. You're gonna laugh. This was a game that I rented once and played. I didn't enjoy it, so don't hold that against me. Please, I beg of you, don't. But check this out. Here we go, right here. This is the game. Blues Brothers 2000 by Titus. Do they even make games anymore? I don't know. I really don't care. Blues Brothers 2000, released in 1998. Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, Alpha Terranema, I do remember the game, or remember that I don't think they learned anything from it. And I was living a good life, not even remembering it. But now today, after this show, I'm going to sit here and drink some water, prepare for the comic book, and think about how terrible Blues Brothers 2000 was. So thank you very much, Alpha Terranema, for bringing back bad memories. Brandon Moist is here. everybody. Say hello to Brandon Moist. Unreal how Hollywood relies. Yeah, God, I cannot speak this morning. I'm partially congested. Excuse me. Unreal how Hollywood relies on reviving classics and well-loved franchises these days. Shows the lack of creativity in Hollywood. You think they have creativity in Hollywood? I get where you're coming from, Moist. I'm just busting your balls. But yeah, let me talk about that actually. So, what the movies that most people seem to talk about are either adaptations or comic book movies, stuff like that. And then you come out with these remakes. And it's weird how Hollywood and the people that defend the box office want to say, oh, but guys, these movies make tons and tons of money. Not really. Did the Vacation reboot / reimagining / continuation make money? No, it was a flop. Did the Ghostbusters remake make a bunch of money? No, it was a flop. Total Recall, the remake, flop. The thing is, guys, during this culture war, reviving stuff from the 80s or 1990 in the case of Total Recall, it never seems to work. I don't think lumping in Spider-Man movies and all these other things really work with the constant reboots and revival craze. The first remake I remember in my life is the one I first remember is like Psycho coming out. And I remember people talking about it. That was the Gus Van Sant shot-for-shot remake with Anne Heche and Vince Vaughn. Mistake. And then I'm trying to think of other remakes that have come out. Now, I don't consider like How the Grinch Stole Christmas a remake. The Grinch is just it's an adaptation of that old book, you know. It's a live action version. I guess I have a weird definition because if it's an existing thing like a book, well, they're redoing the book. Like, how many times have they done The Count of Monte Cristo or The Time Machine? I don't consider those movies remakes. I just consider those new adaptations of a book. Therefore, I don't find them to be as egregious as a Ghostbusters remake with all women. Ocean's 8. Wait, isn't technically Ocean's 8 like, isn't that Danny Ocean's sister? I don't know. I never watched those movies. I apologize. If Ocean's is your favorite franchise and I'm belittling it by not knowing it, I apologize thoroughly. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive world-class bullshitters, please. But I'm just joking now. But no, the remake craze is stupid. If you remake The Breakfast Club, fuck them. I'm done with Hollywood. That is a movie. I watched it partially last night when I was eating dinner. That is a movie that doesn't need to be remade. I went on that rant this week earlier, so check out other episodes of Good Morning Pop Culture for that. But, Brandon, they do lack creativity, originality. Sometimes, like a brand is not a problem. Like, I don't take, what's the right way to say this? I don't have any problems with the Marvel Cinematic Universe constantly pumping out new superheroes or seeing Iron Man in new adventures because those characters come from a place where every month they're featured in a new adventure. They used to do in all the old DC comic movies featuring characters in monthly comics from DC or something like that. It had a phrase they put in all their movies. So you'd go see the movie and then you go, oh, there's more adventures every month. I'm going to go see it. So what are there? There are at least 1,000 issues of Action Comics, probably like 1,011 now. But there are those issues of Action Comics. There are countless Superman books. Spider-Man's got countless books. They're just characters that go on different adventures every week sometimes. So countless movies featuring the characters don't feel like remakes. Now, if you were to remake Spider-Man 2 and do the same plot, that would be stupid. That's where I would draw the line as a remake. So I guess as a fan, I don't have problems with them making movies based on pre-existing IPs, but the remake is where I consider the creativity to be lacking. Brandon Moy, I'm with you, man. If I see a remake of, I don't know, Bad Santa or an Austin Powers movie or something, I might shit my pants in protest. Oh, and historical things. I don't consider making more historical movies remakes. I don't think you need to retell the story of Normandy anymore because Saving Private Ryan did it. But it's weird too. I'm at a crossroads. I want original stuff, and I do support original stuff. I'm not against supporting original movies at the box office. I don't wait for small independent stuff to hit, Netflix. For example, now Baby Driver is not a small independent film, but I consider Baby Driver small compared to Avengers. Obviously. So I went out to support Baby Driver because it was something different and cool and unique. And I love that movie. I bought it on Blu-ray. I think it may have been my favorite movie last year. That or I don't remember what the other one was. One of those two were great. It, again, not a remake, just a imagining. So thank you, Brandon Moist. Chain of Cyber 9 Avila had 2 super chats. Let me read these. Thank you very much, Chain of Cyber 9 Avila. Spaceballs 2. With today's material, Rick Moranis and crew would have a colossal success and would be the movie we all wanted. It would make bank. Dude, I love you, Chain of Cyber 9 Avila, but please never say that on the channel again because that sounds so good. I can only imagine. We should all, as a group, write Spaceballs 2 as a joke, and then we pitch it. We'll send a script out to Rick Moranis and be like, please make this movie. Mel Brooks, I know you're old and you're trying to enjoy retirement, but you're still funny and smart and witty and get it. Please make that movie. I would love to see Spaceballs 2. The thing is, you could have done Spaceballs 2 10 years ago, making fun of the prequels, and that would have been funny. But now you do it making fun of Disney, and it's so much more poignant because while the Star Wars prequels have critics and they have people that are tired of the film or didn't like them when they were new, the Disney Star Wars movies have gone out of their way to become real-world problems. The creators are dicks. The people that make the movies are dicks. All these people just constantly cause problems. And just think of all the funny shit. If Mel Brooks took a non-politically correct, sharp, Blazing Saddles-like approach to Star Wars, modern Star Wars, and just pulled no punches and thought, I don't care if it kills my career. It can't kill my career. I'm Mel Brooks. I got a legacy that's better than 90% of anyone that'll ever make anything, and I'm old. If he did something like that, I will applaud him. I mean, Bill Pullman's still alive. You could bring back him and Daphne Zuniga and make jokes about them being old and being dusty. Like every time they touch him, they dust him off. You could do a really kind of funny but mean joke about John Candy. You know, oh, anybody can play Chewbacca, anybody can play Barf, but that's not the case. Like the guy can't act. Like you have me play Barf, different color and everything, and I go, yeah, and I start stumbling over lines and shit or acting like a robot. That could be funny too. You could have a really useless CGI character like a Jar Jar equivalent. There are just countless things you could do with Spaceballs 2. I know people said Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, Spaceballs 3, The Quest for Spaceballs 2. You should do Disney. You deserve to be lampooned bigger than Stealing Solo. Like Stealing Solo is big, and I'm proud of it. But Mel Brooks to do a Star Wars parody when Star Wars needs to be parodied the most, shit. Have George Lucas get involved with it too. Could you imagine? Lucas just comes on. He's like, yeah, I want to help. I'm tired of this shit. Like through their comedy, through their parody, through their art, they're able to tear down Disney Star Wars in a 90-minute film. And I would applaud that. I know that Mel Brooks has it in him. And that George Lucas at times has the ability to make something truly great. So Chain of Cyberdyne Avila, I'm just joking. I love that concept. Really, I'm going to think about Spaceballs 2. The thing I was thinking about earlier, not anymore. Spaceballs 2. Search for Spaceballs 3 or more money. Chain of Cyber 9 Avila says, or a Demolition Man reboot with Michael B. Jordan and crew in a world run by SJWs. The first one's a world run by Tumblr. That could be fun. I would like that. I like Demolition Man enough. A lot of people are emotionally tied to Demolition Man. That was also one of those movies that I would watch as a kid on TV because it came out, 94, 95? Let's say 94. It could be 93. Who knows? Everybody, just me, not me right now. But my point is, I would watch that growing up, and I liked it. Demolition Man was fun. Like Cliffhanger, I liked it, but I didn't love it. The older I get, the Demolition Man actually is pretty funny and has some relevant things to talk about. Like The Last Action Hero is a lot more poignant than I remember it being. So I'm of a mind to make some Moki, aka I'm of a mind to watch a remake of that. Only if it's not necessarily a remake, but a similar plot. If it's played for laughs, that's where parody comes into play, using elements of the original creation to make a point about said creation. Because if you're using it to make a point about whatever, then it becomes satire, and it's a different thing. But it's funny, talk about the world run by SJWs. You know, I think there should be. We talked about the High Council comic the other night, and I said how Jeremy would have. The High Council would face their army. I'm thinking, and hear me out. You can tell Jeremy this is my concept, and he and I can work on this together. The High Council comic is the three of us, and we get attacked by the army of NPCs. And what do? We call out to the universe for all the Jer army. So basically, it's a comic of NPCs versus the Jer army, and that'd be an incredible comic book. And the three of us, Ethan, Jeremy, and myself, kind of lead the fray, and we fight them, and we'll win because it's our comic, and we're gonna win. But Shano Cybernite Avila, thank you very, very much. Salvador, The Haunting of Hill House was also a reimagining. The original adaptation of the book was The Haunting. Cannot remember that show enough, or cannot recommend that show enough. It is on my instant queue, Salvador. I saw you know how when you go to Netflix and you go on a title, it starts playing like a couple second loop? I saw that and I thought, okay, cool. And then I added it to my queue. Full transparency, a guilty pleasure of mine is if you search through sometimes, like you'll go see Power Rangers on there and I'll watch it because it plays the theme song. So I just basically watch like a 15-second clip of them fighting. And I'm like, I feel like a kid again. But I will check that out for sure. The year's going to end hectically, chaotically with me constantly working on the comic, doing some videos. I'm looking for at the technology to make videos like Jeremy and the Quartering do for time's sake. Now, I'm not going to ever fully abandon our, visual jokes and all these things in the videos. I enjoy those greatly. But I made a promise to a lot of people to get this comic out, as well as people that I would make videos for and stuff. So I will be constantly producing content. I'm not going away. I'm not going to disappear. But I am going to find a way to expedite the process for the time being, because the videos, the way I do them, they're my way. Nobody does videos like that. So I love them, and I'm never going to get rid of them. But for those who need small little bites of content, I will produce those. I will just have to find a better way, a quicker way to get you the same message in a much more concise package. But that is a topic for another day. But thank you, Salvador. I will check it out. Shano Cyber9 Avila, thank you very much again. Spaceballs 2 starring Mark Hamill. Shano Cyber9 Avila, I don't know if I want Mark Hamill to be in it. After he posted that dumb shit that you guys all saw the tweet he posted, right? Give me a second. I'll pull it up and read it. I'm not going to show it because I'm on my phone trying to pull it up. But he said something stupid. We roasted it on the High Council. By the way, guys, make sure you're checking out the High Council each and every week. This past week was World Class Bullshitters Week. It was a great show. We got into some Star Wars stuff. We got into Marvel stuff. We got into the death of Stanley from two different perspectives, from fans of Stanley and somebody who had met Stanley and worked in the comic book industry. So I thought that was a really good, strong show. And I know you guys are going to love it. You love the High Council every week. We got the best jobs in the world. We got tens of thousands of people that come to hear us talk, and it's a lot of fun. So we'd like to thank you again. I can't find the tweet. Basically, Mark Hamill said something about after the hundreds of years of men ruling, it's time to let women take charge. And I was just like, no, Mark. I love you to death, but just shut the fuck up. I'm at that point where, Mark Hamill is like, your friend. And you're like, yeah, man, I like you, and you've done a lot of good stuff. No, it's like Batman 89. Remember when he's talking to Vicky Vale in her apartment? He's like, I like you, but shut up. That's how I feel about Mark Hamill right now. I'm Batman, and he's Vicky Vale, and he needs to just shut up for a minute. So there's a lot of respect for Mark Hamill, but I don't really want to see Mark Hamill involved in this stuff. He gets it, but until his Disney contract has run out, Mark Hamill is not really Mark Hamill. He is a gun for hire. Cesario Japan, thank you very much. Barf is a cardboard cutout with voice and Spaceballs too. I like it. Now, Cesario Japan, I'm asking you, what do we do with Dot Matrix? Because it was the voice of Joan Rivers who has passed away. And do we give it is it Dot Matrix with a red leg and Melissa Rivers is the voice, or do we have Amy Schumer? No, that means she would actually be in something worth watching, and she's not. Gross. But I do like that Barf is a cardboard cutout. What do you say, Barf? And it's like the same shot over and over again. Because the original Star Wars actually has this shot of R2-D2 it uses multiple times. It's like him on the Death Star, but then they use it on the Millennium Falcon, and it's just really bizarre because you can see like the console in the background. I understand Star Wars was made by the seat of your pants. The editing was done, one more frame and the reel is like over. So remember, it's my second favorite movie. I have nothing but respect for it, but I can make fun of stuff I do love. I mean, look at Dion. I make fun of my best friend every day. Still my best friend. What stack out on the line for. So I'm not really above poking fun at something I truly care about. So if we ever joke back and forth, no, I care about you. That is the sign that I truly like somebody. If I can joke around with them. If I'm just like, and I'm just want you out, that's a sign I'm really not interested. Chano Cyber 9 Avila, thank you very much again. NPC Army, you say. I live in California. I fight them on a daily basis. Can I lead the charge and hold the flag? I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. Bonesaw is ready. I fucking love Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace, Macho Man. For the High Council comic, I think we would have to enlist the fans as well. Like Chano Cyber 9 Avila and all the other people that are like really a big part of it. We could really do something fun with that. That would be the story. And Jeremy, we would split it, obviously. We would all split it. But we would raise the money and we'd put fans in it and we'd do all these crazy things. We could have a lot of fun with this comic book. I mean, I'm serious. This could be the next big thing. I don't have the second one set in stone. That could be the second one. If enough people were interested, Jeremy, Ethan, and I could come together and work on it. Or if Ethan's busy with Cyberfrog and Rainbow Brute, Jeremy and I can do it. And we can, get Ethan to do the cover or something crazy like that. And it'll be an incredible ride. And everyone will be involved. Rodriguez, thank you very much. I wouldn't take what Mark Hamill said too seriously. It's just him towing the party line on Twitter in a retweet, and he probably is not too serious. I don't know, man. Until episode 9 comes out, I expect Mark Hamill to toe the company line pretty hard, but I don't know what point will become towing the company line and what he truly believes. I think he got a lot of shit for episode 9 or 8, the way he handled himself. And that was a lot of ammunition people could use against the film. I would bet dollars to donuts that he had a discussion with Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy about his attitude on social media. Yet Brie Larson doesn't get a talking to by Bob Iger, Kevin Feige, Alan Horn, any of those people. Oh, no. No, Brie Larson can do what she wants. Whatever. But I do think Mark Hamill's lost. I think they broke him. I think they demoralized him, and now he just is a shell, a husk. He's doing what he's got to do to provide for his family. But the thing is, I want to love Mark Hamill. I want to believe in Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker may not be my favorite Star Wars character, but he is what got me into Star Wars, and I really love him as the Joker and all these other things that I've seen Mark Hamill in. I enjoy. He was in Kingsman: The Secret Service. I thought he had played a very good small role. But Luke Skywalker, the eternal optimist, I want to be the eternal optimist for Mark Hamill. But he just goes out and he says stupid things like that. And what is the tipping point? Do I constantly have to believe in Mark Hamill because of the goodwill I have from 40 years, hell, before I was even born? Or do I eventually realize that, hey, maybe Mark Hamill has changed and it's not, just a tweet? Michael, I want to believe Mark Hamill. I'm not arguing with you for the sake of argument. I want to believe what you believe. I just don't feel that way currently. That's all I can say to you guys. Tim Riggs, thank you very much, my friend. Larson is an effing Hollywood poser. She can go away. Tim Riggs, I like the way you think, but you already knew that. Dude, Brie Larson is the cardboard cutout that Chano Cyber 9 Avila, that Cesario Japan suggested for Spaceballs 2. She is flat, she is boring, she lacks any substance whatsoever. She can enjoy her success. I don't want to take away, I don't want to ruin her livelihood. I don't want to ruin anything for these people like they do. The crazy, literally shaking folk, they want to tear down your life if you have a disagreement. I just want to have the right, which I already do, so I can't even feel anything but happy about it. I don't have the right to criticize and discuss my point of view with all of you. And I just am not a fan. I don't like that this is what's be the representation of the MCU. You know how the MCU can subvert my expectations? They build up this hype for Captain Marvel. Their movie, they make her a hero and all this shit. And then in Infinity War, she fucking dies. And there's no more Captain Marvel. I would like that. That is how you would get me excited. I know that I don't have to look at her plain Jane, wooden plank ass. Like Brie Larson, little known fact, Brie Larson used to be in a cartoon called Ed, Ed, and Eddie. She starred as Plank. She didn't say any lines, but she was there. Flat, wooden, and boring. And so she had this big career revival in the late 2000s, and now she's here as Captain Marvel. But let's not ever forget that Plank, played by Brie Larson, while they don't give Oscars for television shows, they give Emmys, children's Emmys. Batman the Animated Series won every one ever possible. Let's just remember that the Academy owed Brie Larson a debt of gratitude for her role as Plank in Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Cesaria Japan, again, thank you very much. Spaceballs 2, Dot Matrix is in danger. Sorry, Dot Matrix is a danger-haired SJW, gold-colored hair, gold clothing, and is triggered by Lone Star at every occasion and instance. Ooh. Cesaria Japan, email me, man. We should work on Spaceballs 2 together and then pitch it. Oh my god, I love that one. Because remember, she has that Virgin alarm in Spaceballs 1. Well, just Spaceballs. And that's pretty funny. So instead of the Virgin alarm, it's been replaced by Trigger. Trigger alert, Trigger alert. Like, you guys remember Batman Forever when the Riddler breaks into the Batcave and Trigger alert, shut up. It's just Trigger alert, oh, like that, something like that. Oh man. Spaceballs 2, if we couldn't get Spaceballs 2 made, I think as a community what we should do or could do is we could actually raise the funding. Since we have Ivan and other people that make films professionally, we could create a Spaceballs 2 trailer. Talk about a great way to have our voices heard. I don't know how much it would cost to hire these people, but I mean, it would be a shoot for a trailer, so it'd be a lot smaller of a shoot. But anything's possible. I mean, College Humor does it all the time. Why not us? I don't like the mentality of I'm just going to roll over and not do anything. Go for the big, go for the gusto, go for the top. That could be something we all do down the road. If enough people believed in it, we could make it happen, and it would be so fun. We could treat it like the old Hardware Wars. Have you guys ever seen Hardware Wars? You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $2 goodbye. Han Solo was ham salad. Luke, was it Starbuckler or Bunger or something? R2D2 was a toaster or something like that. It was great. Star Wars parodies are as old as Star Wars itself. And I have one that I made, and I'm very proud of it. And now we can do more. We can do more with a lot of this. Oh God, Hallmark Channel Jeremy's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Hallmark Channel Jeremy is in the chat. Who's excited? Who's ready for Christmas? Somebody's coming. Oh, watch out. Fluke Starbucker. Okay, that's what his name is. I couldn't remember. Guys, it's been probably a decade. I saw Hardware Wars, honestly, 20 years ago. I'm 30, but I saw it as a kid because Media Play had it on tape. It was real cheap, and I think pretty sure my mom bought it, or it was seen on TV, because that and Thumb Wars, The Phantom Cuticle were played in the 90s on Fox. Is either the build-up for the prequels or the build-up for the special edition. And I remember, Luke, I am your mother. And the Thumb Darth Vader had like a pink dress on or some shit. And they're flying down the trench. Oh my God. That was great. Mel Brooks did say at some point last year Spaceballs sequel could happen. Well, let's hope. Praying to God. Spaceballs reference right there. That Mel Brooks lives a lot longer and that he can get something made. Because as Indiana Jones says, it's not about the age, it's the mileage. And maybe Mel Brooks has had a lot of mileage, but the guy is still mentally sharp like Stan Lee. Maybe the body has aged, but the mind is still there, and it's as sharp as anyone. And Mel Brooks comedies are fantastic. I don't know every Mel Brooks movie like the back of my hand, but I am a fan of Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein, Robin Hood Men in Tights. From what I've seen of Blazing Saddles, I need to finish the movie. Yes, I'm guilty of that. But, yeah, Mel Brooks, you are the man. Nothing but respect. So we're talking about Spaceballs. Let's talk about its more successful sister franchise, Star Wars, because there is some actual Star Wars news again. So the other day we were all confirmed about The Mandalorian, and now it's back to The Mandalorian? ? So this is Gina Carano right here. Former martial artist, decent actress. She's in Deadpool. Her boob pops out. It's a good time. So Deadpool's Gina Carano joins the new Star Wars TV show, The Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal has a new companion in the wings. MMA fighter turned actor Gina Carano has been cast in Jon Favreau's live-action Star Wars television show, The Mandalorian. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Carano has joined The Mandalorian in an undisclosed role. This follows Tuesday's surprise announcement that Pascal will be playing the title character in the Disney Plus streaming series. Carano is best known as an MMA fighter who transitioned to an actor, notably playing Angel Dust in the first Deadpool movie. The Mandalorian takes place between the events of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, centering around a lone gunfighter in the outreaches of the galaxy. The outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic, is being helmed by Favreau and will feature directors like Bryce Dallas Howard, Taika Waititi, Dave Filoni, and more. This is the first of 2 Star Wars live-action shows that have been announced for Disney Plus, as Diego Luna will reprise his role as Rogue One's Cassian Andor in a prequel series. Obviously, Disney has not announced a release date for The Mandalorian, but we're expecting it to come out sometime in 2019. Now, I will say, I'll get out in front of this and say it like this. Women in Star Wars movies are fine. They've been there since the beginning, and sometimes they're some of the best characters, like Princess Leia. The ones in the Disney era stuff have sucked because they're all lame and weak. Gina Carano can literally kick someone's ass. So I'm not saying I'm excited for her in this movie at all, but I don't find this to be offensive like a Daisy Ridley. My biggest concern with all this stuff, I know people say, Jeff, they're actors. They're supposed to act. True. They are supposed to act. But if all these people can get uppity about, well, this person's not dark enough to play a role or this or that, I can say that these people aren't believable enough to play an ass kicker. Gina Carano, I'll buy it because she's real. I can't stand when somebody like a Natalie Portman or a Daisy Ridley who weigh 82 pounds, and if the wind blows or I sneeze, they fall down. They're just so little. Like, these guns are bigger than they are. Maybe it's the action hero trope of the 80s or the 90s, but if you look the part, I'm more welcoming. So for Gina Carano, she has proven herself in the real world to be able to fight. Maybe she's not a great fighter, but I did see the producers, by the way. We watched it in college. That's all I can say. Not all I can say. I seen it. We watched it. What was his name? Zero Mostel. But with this Mandalorian thing, I don't mind if she's a badass chick. So we'll see. I don't want her to be like the surprise lead or anything like that. But if she's like a different bounty hunter, like, how Aura Singh was a bounty hunter in Star Wars, something along those lines. She's dead, by the way. They talk about her getting killed in Solo, a Star Wars story, which was kind of weird because that's an EU character that had a lot of well, she's not really EU. She's in the prequels and the Clone Wars show, so she's part of the canon officially. But Disney killed off her, a strong, independent woman, bounty hunter, who was kind of cool. People are saying, at least it's not Ronda Rousey. Yeah, she's busy in the WWE without having a match for Survivor Series this weekend. By the way, the WWE has been, you guys want to talk about NPCs, progressiveness, and SJWs and all this stuff, the buzzwords you all love to hear. WWE has been trying to do that for a couple of years to middling success at best. That's why you have to dig out people like, The Rock has to come back to make millions of dollars for the company. They finally got 2 women wrestlers who are actually putting on a good show. This lady named Becky Lynch. Now, I'm not changing my stance on all this stuff. I'm with you guys about all this culture war stuff. But I got to give credit where credit's due. This chick, Becky Lynch, is a pretty damn she's really entertaining, and she's a decent wrestler. And the funny thing is, I sat on a plane with her a couple years ago, next to her, didn't even notice, talked to her, had no clue who the fuck she was. Nowadays, that wouldn't be the same case because I would definitely recognize her because she has been out there doing some cool stuff. And she's about to do this main event at Survivor Series, which is one of the big 4 pay-per-views in wrestling. And she gets injured the week before. And the match is supposed to be her and Ronda Rousey. And, you may think of Ronda Rousey as a shitty UFC fighter or a shitty actress or whatever. And I was with you. And I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan. I don't dislike her. I would talk to her in public and, be nice, but have questions for her. But she performs this year at WrestleMania in New Orleans. And that was one of the first times where all the guys from the show that you listen to each week, the new version of World Class Bullshitters, the current version, we all met. We had a great time. But Ronda Rousey went out there and fought or wrestled a match, and wrestling's not real. We're not going to act like it is. But she was damn entertaining. And I thought, if they get the right women in there, wrestling has always had women wrestlers, some good, some terrible, like the Bella Twins. But you have an opportunity to do something more, and you can actually take stuff that is female-led and not make it preachy and pandering. And so that kind of fell on its face. And I look at this Gina Carano situation as the same thing. I'm not saying she's the second coming. She's not going to save Star Wars or make Star Wars less whammy and more, cool. But I don't look at her as, she may be white and she may be brunette, but she was effective in Deadpool, and hopefully she's effective in this. That's all I can say in a positive way, is that, Disney and the media has always propped up these dumb female-led things. Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8, Ghostbusters, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. It's not, women aren't the death knell for entertainment. Just bad ones are, and bad ideals and bad politics. We'll see where this goes. And the thing is, Star Wars, you don't have to have, people would say, well, there's no white guys in Star Wars anymore. That is true. There aren't. You have Pedro Pascal and Diego Luna, who are, I guess, I don't know how they'd be classified. Well, people, I guess, are mad there's no more white blonde-haired dudes or whatever. I definitely think those are decisions they make, which are odd. But at least they're picking dudes that are, a dude, Pedro Pascal. At least they're picking a dude that has a coolness to him. And I'm going based strictly off of Kingsman 2. I liked the movie. I liked him. He was cool. He was like a Kmart Burt Reynolds, but, better. Hopefully that the Mandalorian is like the next evolution in actually good actors, because no one cares if you have a black guy in Star Wars. No one cares if you have Hispanic people or women or this or that in Star Wars. That isn't the thing. It's always, or Asian women. It's always that the cast of characters in these new Disney things are bad. They're just poorly cast, hollow cutouts. They're not really characters. They're cast on their ethnicity, and then they're put out there as, oh, they're this, they're that, they're strong. No, they're really not strong. They're actually really weak. And we're told they're strong. We're told they're groundbreaking. We're told they do all these things, but they really don't. So I'm hoping that The Mandalorian is the next evolution where these things actually become viable, interesting characters. It's weird. Star Wars talks about, forget the past, kill it if you have to. We need to look back to the past to learn how to create memorable movie characters. Because we have not had, with the exception of John Wick, we have not had a truly original movie character in quite some time. All the Marvel shit based off pre-existing characters. Maybe those actors do fantastic jobs like Robert Downey Jr. Great, good for him. Love him to death, respect him. Greatest comeback story in history. But Iron Man existed since 1963. Maybe 64. I don't know when Tales of Suspense came out. But we don't have original characters. We need original great characters. Your John Wicks, your John Rambos, your John Matrixes, all of these original characters, some have stood the test of time, some have not. But sometimes a character doesn't need to be about ideology and identity politics, and maybe sometimes a character needs to be represent something, but be a little stereotypical, be a little bit shallow to a degree, and sometimes you need some superficial elements need to come back so people can. It's funny. I talk about Daisy Ridley and all these women in Star Wars so far. They have a certain look so the audience can project themselves onto them so they don't feel insecure by the body or this or that. It's just stuff that is actually talked about. I don't know if I'm wrong or crazy, but I've heard that be talked about before. I think it's time for the pendulum to swing back in terms of you need to have characters that are vague enough that you can, okay, for example, John Wick's on a revenge kick. I can get behind John Wick because they killed his dog and his wife died and all these terrible things. Like, we can all sympathize with the situation that the characters are in, or he is in, as John Wick. I can't sympathize with Ray. Oh, my parents left me. Okay, but you can do everything. And within like 5 minutes, a fucking military force has just accepted you as their own, and you're no longer poor on a desolate planet. Those characters don't really represent anybody. Sometimes if you want to look and see elements of a character in yourself, like Marty McFly, I don't look anything like Michael J. Fox. I'm a foot taller, and that's not a joke. I'm like a foot taller than he is. But you can still, like, even a guy like me, I can still see certain things, about like the self-doubt. Like he says, what if they don't think I'm any good? I just don't think I can take that kind of rejection. People, I don't really have those issues, but when you're younger, you do. Sometimes, those things happen, and you can find a little thing to relate with in each of these characters. With Disney Star Wars, they took that factor out, and they made it all about your skin color. Like, Dion is black. I'm part black. I like Axel Foley. I like all these characters. Skin color doesn't matter to me. What matters is that Finn's a fucking buffoon. So I look at somebody like this Pedro Pascal guy, and I don't think, I can't identify with him. I'm not Hispanic or Mexican or wherever he's from. No, I don't care. If he's cool, if he's got an aura about him, if he's got a set, if he's got something that makes me, go, oh, cool, this guy's got a cool factor to him, I'm going to buy into it. And I'm hoping that's what The Mandalorian is. It's a step towards the right direction. The cool factor comes back to Star Wars. Star Wars has been nerdy and lame for so long. And now it's popular to a degree, but it has removed itself from being nerdy and lame, and now it's preachy and saccharine, and people just are fed up with it. These characters just are not resonating with anyone. Our friend Idio Hugima sent in a super chat. Thank you very much. I like Pascal. He's versatile. He can be a good guy. He can be a bad guy. Does them both well. Don't care about his skin color. But Carano, she can't act her way out of a cardboard box. True. But here's the thing. Back in the day, neither could Schwarzenegger. I'm not saying she's going to be the next Schwarzenegger or anything like that. But I think if you... My statement with her, and the reason I'm not so down on it, is if you can look at somebody like Gina Carano and know a little bit about what she does, if she looks intimidating enough, you can at least buy it. I'm not saying she's going to be having this great depth. She's not going to be the next... I'm trying to think of a woman from Star Wars that had all this great depth, and like Carrie Fisher was good, but I think her performance combined with Star Wars, what it actually became, this cultural movement, nostalgia, and the movie magic, a lot of the Star Wars stuff gets elevated, and rightly so. I think the person with the most charismatic Star Wars character ever is Han Solo. We love Luke, we respect Mark Hamill, all that stuff, but the character of Luke is not a two-dimensional character at all. He's a very good, nuanced character, but he has less character growth. His character growth takes 3 movies. Han Solo's happens at a quicker pace, and he becomes, completely. Luke becomes what he wants. Han becomes what he never thought he would be. I find that very interesting, and that's why Episode 7 becomes so offensive to me, because it becomes something that wasn't even in the trajectory of the character. It's not about me in Star Wars, but it should be about the characters that I don't buy some of the decisions they made with him. So I didn't really plan on talking about The Mandalorian so much. I guess I need to take a couple of these things from today's episode and turn them into sound bites for single release videos. I was really motivated to talk about Brie Larson. I still am. As I said, guys, when I criticize these celebrities, these characters, these actors, all these things, I don't come from a place of misogyny or hatred or sexism or anything like that. Because I'm really not the guy to try to pin that on. I'm the guy that grew up with a single mom who busted her ass, a grandma who was in World War II, all this stuff. I don't have a negative perception of women. What I have is a realistic perception of people. And I can see through the bullshit of Hollywood. And that is when I get tired of all this crap. Do I expect Brie Larson to proverbial blow the ghost of Stanley? No, I do not. I don't expect anything from her. But if you're, except one thing, be sincere about it. Sincerity is so important with celebrities. I use him as an example all the time because he truly is the shining example, The Rock. The dude is sincere. He's a man of his word. He's not fake. I was a fan of him as a wrestler because of the coolness of the character, and then as an adult, I like him and still stick around. Even though I don't really like his movies too much, I still stick around because the stuff he does and the stuff he stands for. And I wish more actors were less vain and contributed more to society, like our buddy Dave Grohl. We'll talk about him in a moment. Dave Grohl has actually gone out of his way to help people with, the people that have lost their homes in the wildfires out in California. California's having a wildfire. We're having an ice storm on this side of the country. It's a really bizarre time. It's a weird reflection of what's going on because fire and ice are the exact opposites. And there are a lot of things, a lot of opposites that are happening, a lot of polarizing issues in entertainment right now, be them political, ideological, creatively. People say Hollywood's creatively bankrupt. I say that all the time. I still stand with that. There are glimmers of hope out there. And I think once a guy like me loses all hope, like, for example, the death of Stanley has proven to me, without a doubt, that you can never have the NPC SJW crowd and the regular fans come together over one topic. There's literally nothing. The man himself, Stanley, passed away. And once that happened, which is sad, people tried to politicize it, be it Armie Hammer, like a dickhead, or the terrible people over at Marvel. It's funny. DC has the classiest response. So I said this on the High Council the other night. A lot of people have watched, but in case you don't watch the High Council and you only watch Good Morning Pop Culture, that his death has just proven me that there's no hope there. And uniting the front. What's going to happen is that the fans will have to ride it out and wait. And once the NPC people move to something else, then it will be, you can rebuild the comic book thing. But there is no cataclysmic event that can ever reunite both sides. End times, maybe the end times were just. So let's see. Let's talk about something positive before we close out today's show. So where are we at? Dave Grohl. Press 1 if you like Dave Grohl. And I was going to say press 1 if you like the Foo Fighters. You don't really have to like the Foo Fighters because Dave Grohl has had his hands in countless musical endeavors. I like Dave Grohl. He's what I would call my rock and roll hero. Has everything he's ever made song-wise been fantastic? No, not everything can be Everlong. But he's constantly put out great hits. And I like the Foo Fighters, Nirvana, them Crooked Vultures, Queens of the Stone Age, all kinds of stuff. I've been a Dave Grohl fan. I like the dude. So now I actually like him even more. So let me pull up a nice image of Dave Grohl. For those who don't know who he is, I've heard him called the nicest man in rock and roll. That would be a celebrity friend I'd like to have. Seriously. Dave Grohl, celebrity friend. That could be a good skit on our show. We'll have our show, don't worry. But Dave Grohl did something cool. And I just thought, we talk about how entertainment is so devoid of decent people. It's not about morals. It's not about, religious beliefs or anything like that. It's just about sometimes doing the right thing. And Dave Grohl has. So I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. And now I'd like to find it myself. Okay, so Foo Fighters Dave Grohl cooks barbecue for LA firefighters battling California wildfires. Rock and roll's immortal hero provides downright heroic with smoked meats. There goes my hero. As California wildfires continue to ravage the state to everyone's horror, Dave Grohl has taken matters in his own hands by starting his own for the very men and women of saving the day. As NME reports, the Foo Fighters frontman created Calabasas Fire Station 88 to a free barbecue on Monday night, providing the firefighters with savory smoked meats from his newly minted Backbeat barbecue. Here's a nice portrait of him with people. I'll show you guys this. Well, it's on Instagram. But no, I'm not going to use this as a time for a platform, to stand on stuff. I just want to say Dave Grohl's legit. I like the guy. I like his music, and I like that he does something cool like that. Shout out to Dave Grohl. I know some people don't like Nirvana. They don't like Kurt Cobain. They don't like this, but everyone's got to like this. Wildfires are a scary thing. I know there's a lot of people that listen to California. If there's anyone in the chat that lives in California currently, give me a capital C so I can know what's up. I'll talk about Stealing Solo towards the end of the show. Remind me. I'm working on it. That's all I can say. IDZ135, thank you very much for your super chat. Favreau was a big MMA fan. No doubt Carano will be for action scenes no known star could bring, or female one at least. It's funny, IDZ brought that up. I was at the gym yesterday or 2 days ago, and that episode of Friends with Jon Favreau was on there when he gets into the octagon with, was it Tank Abbott? I think it was Tank Abbott. So anyway, I didn't realize that Jon Favreau was on Friends. And I saw that, and I guess it all kind of ties together. That's the case with, Jon Favreau and his MMA fighters. Sometimes you get, real-world athletes that make fantastic actors, and sometimes you get Shaquille O'Neal and you get Kazam or Steel, which we don't ever need to look back on. It's funny, when Dion and I talk about Black Panther and how it really doesn't break that much ground in the black-led superhero films, have you ever noticed we kind of just conveniently gloss over Steel? You know why we conveniently gloss over Steel? Because we forget it exists. It's dumb. Spawn may have dumb moments, but it was made with the right mindset to make an entertaining film. Steel, Kazam, even though Kazam's not a superhero movie, so much bullshit. So, a couple capital C's in here. Just wondering if anybody's been affected by this stuff. I mean, if you are, we wish you the best. Get yourself safe. I always forget Blade. I don't think so. I mean, the commentaries we do, I hope that's a sarcastic message. That's all I can say. I remember Hancock. I saw it and didn't like it at all. Not a fan. Just because it exists doesn't mean it's good. Jon Favreau directed the first episode of Orville's. Like the Orville? Like the Seth MacFarlane show? I haven't watched that. I probably won't, to be honest. If I'm going to spend time to watch a show, it probably won't be the Orville. Not because I'm angry at Fox being acquired by Disney or anything like that. Just have no interest in it. Oh, so people's, say your brother's classes were canceled because of the air quality from the fire. Let's see. Yeah, I saw the Nick Fury movie many years ago. I've seen, except the Generation X show, like that thing that's special in the 90s, even if that was aired or not, I don't know. But I've seen I'd say I've seen every Marvel thing. Because I saw Blade Trinity years ago. I've seen all the X-Men films. I've seen all the Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. Yes, even the unreleased Roger Corman one, which is on YouTube now, folks. I've seen them. Game parody one, you gets it. You got it. No, hold his muff. I'm pretty sure that like Fox News and Fox Sports were separated from the 20th Century Fox merger due to monopoly issues. Hulk Hogan should have played Sabretooth. I love Hulk Hogan. I don't care what he said in his private life enough to... You can't really take away the legacy of Hulk Hogan. See, that is a problem with this politically correct culture. People make mistakes. People do dumb shit. If they've achieved a lot, their mistake doesn't negate all the positive things they've done. In the case of Hulk Hogan, you may think, I don't like wrestling. You don't have to like it. My stance is never to get you to like wrestling. Wrestling is shit right now. But wrestling wouldn't be what it is today without two people, Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon had the business acumen to do what he did, and Hulk Hogan was the biggest star in history. People want to say, Stone Cold Steve Austin sold 1 million more t-shirts. I don't give a shit about your t-shirts. Hulk Hogan revolutionized wrestling. And then The Rock took on right after that. Stone Cold, you're a number 3 at best. Love you to death. Would like to hang out with you more than the other two dudes, but no. Austin 316, third place. So Hulk Hogan does get a bum rap about a lot of that stuff, but overall, the dude contributed so much. Lewis Thompson, I hope your sister's house is going to be all right. That's scary. I don't really, I couldn't imagine being in a situation myself. Cesaria Japan, thank you very much. Seen the Nick Fury film with David Hasselhoff on Fox? Yes. Long time ago. Probably saw it when it was new. I always liked Marvel stuff. I don't mean to say this in a douchey way, so I apologize if it comes off. Remember, I'm kind of dealing with a cold and got a couple of things on my mind. All good things, nothing bad. But I've always been a Marvel fan. If you found Marvel through the MCU and you're of a certain age, I'm not here to shit on you, but I've been there my whole life. When Marvel was great, when Marvel was bad, I've liked the shit. So I've stuck through it. I remember riding my bike to go see X-Men when it came out because I had to go see it. Or, the countdown for Spider-Man or all these other things. I mean, I've just been there before these things were movies. I've watched them. And then when, Marvel TV movies were there, I probably liked it a lot as a kid. There's a lot of stuff I thought was great as a kid. And then you watch it as an adult, or you're just like, no. So let's see. A lot of respect for Hulk Hogan. I'm glad you guys see where I'm coming from. Let's see. Hulk Hogan redeemed himself by slamming Gawker. That was goddamn awesome. He may have beat Andre the Giant in front of 93,000 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome in 1987 at WrestleMania 3, but his greatest victory will be over Gawker Media. I love that. And, Hulk Hogan went through some shit and he came back. I would love to hang out with Hulk Hogan. I'm not going to buy him anything or pay for any shit for him, but I'd like to hear some of his crazy 80s stories because there's a lot of cocaine in 1980s wrestling. And, get Hogan without a mic. That's going to be fucking insane. Oh, see, Ric Flair, I put in that list too, and Andre the Giant. I see people calling out their names. I'm not taking away from their contributions. They may be some of the biggest in wrestling, but Andre the Giant was known for what? Fessick in the Princess Bride and as a wrestler. Popular wrestler, but I mean, nobody. Look at it like this. We talk about 80s popular culture all the time. Michael Jackson, Mr. T, Eddie Murphy, Don Johnson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, all these guys. But then you put Hulk Hogan in the list, and Hulk Hogan is a cultural icon in the 1980s, along with Madonna and all these other characters, people, Cyndi Lauper. A lot of wrestlers were popular wrestlers, but Hulk Hogan was just a popular celebrity. He fit in, If he was in the We Are the World video, it would have looked weird because he was a foot taller than everybody else, minimum. But he was of that status. Stone Cold, The Rock, definitely. Even before he was a wrestler, or even before he was an actor, he had reached that status. So there's an argument to be made about Hulk Hogan. Yeah, people agree Hulk Hogan was on the white. Jake the Snake Roberts. I love Jake the Snake Roberts. You talk about a good redemption story. I always say Robert Downey Jr.'s redemption story from being a punchline to being Iron Man is the greatest redemption story in entertainment history. And I agree. There I stand with that. Forever I will. Unless he has another fall from grace, which I doubt he will. It's a fantastic story that I just love talking about because maybe we talk about, stuff that's popular and it's bad, but I do love to talk about the good, positive, fun things. And I got to say, Jake the Snake Roberts' story, while on a much smaller scale, is every bit as empowering as Robert Downey Jr.'s. Jake the Snake was abused as a child, on drugs. I think his mother was actually a sister, some weird shit like that. His dad was that kind of abuser. Then he got into wrestling, got into drugs, got into this, got into that. He was on the edge of dying. Then DDP Yoga came in. He saved his life. He got cleaned up, and he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. He's been clean ever since. He travels the world doing all this great stuff. Those are the types of stories I like to hear, even if you don't give a shit about wrestling, and 99% of you don't, and I don't expect you to. I hope you all recognize Jake the Snake's story as a positive one. And sometimes, people look, I need an inspirational story to get me through the day or stuff like that. Remember those stories. People have come back from bigger disadvantages than most of us will face ever in our lives. Yes, a lot of those problems are self-inflicted, and I'm not making them out to be the victims. But the fact that they overcame those self-inflicted problems to make something of themselves or to continue their life, or hell, just even to save themselves. It's an achievement. And then sometimes you have the sad ones like Kinnison, who's a drug addict and alcoholic and all these, got his life clean, dies as soon as he gets clean by a drunk driver. So there's all kinds of there's two sides to every story. Macho Man should have been given more chances at acting. I think Macho Man should have become an actor. He was obviously he's in Spider-Man. He was in King of the Hill. He had a rap album. He was still in good shape even till he died. I mean, he had a heart attack and then a car crash, which killed him ultimately. Heart attack, not the car crash. But yeah, I wish Macho Man would have been in more shit. He was on Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Oh my God, I love Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Can we get a gif of Kathleen Kennedy getting RKO'd? Well, Havoc 1137, what you need to do is you need to call out to the fans of World Class Bullshitters to make that happen. We have a lot of talented GIF makers. Somebody made a dilly dilly for Kendo many months ago. Kendo still uses that in his private chat. So if you're the person who made it, thank you. We still do it all the time. Oh, I know Hulk Hogan is known to embellish. He's not a perfect person at all, but looking on his achievements from the outside as somebody who enjoys popular culture, I can't deny Hulk Hogan. I think the Solid Monster is a good podcaster who I'd actually like to work with. I've thought about trying to call together a couple wrestling podcasters. I'd really love to get Bruce Pritchard on here. Fucking love that show. But the Solid Monster, I like his take on 70% of his shit. I think he has a very myopic view about the Attitude Era, and frankly, I think he's wrong about a lot of stuff. But I would love to have the Solid Monster on the channel to talk wrestling, to talk about the past, the future, just to have fun. Because I only have one or two friends. I have one friend that likes wrestling, two that can actually talk about it on here. The other guys that are friends of mine that like wrestling do not know podcast etiquette, and it would just be a garbage shit show. Jack B. Oh, I know who this is. Well, let's see. I'm actually going to not read a super chat for once because that is not, let's see, what I'm going to read. So, we got internet trolls. Let's see. Remove. Goodbye. But thanks for your $5, Jack. I'll use that to go buy a copy of X-Men this month. So let's see. Kevin Nash on World Class. I've met Kevin Nash at a show once. I'd have him on. The thing is, I'm not going to pay a wrestler like $5,000 to interview him. I don't care. That's all I can say. I don't care. And the ones I would want would do it for free because they're hugely successful and not money grubbers. See, are you a fan of Djibouti dubs? I think I've seen those, and I think I am. Jericho does okay interviews. One of my favorites with Glenn Danzig. Best one I've ever heard with Glenn. Chris Jericho has a fantastic podcast. I subscribe to Talk as Jericho. I listen to most of the stuff he talks about that isn't involved with wrestling. That's how I learned about his love of I listened to a show called The Rock and Roll Twilight Zone. And so there's a show called Coast to Coast AM, and it started by a guy named Art Bell back in the day, and it took off and it's still on the air. But a lot of these people, it's like a paranormal sci-fi conspiracy theory show, and a lot of people listen to it, a lot of celebrities, and Jericho talked about it, and I found through his show other people who were into this stuff, which is really exciting, because I just love to listen to that while I work on the comic. And Jericho is just a fun personality. I met Chris Jericho. It's funny, too. I made him break character once. He talks about the story of a little kid in an elevator with his dad. Oh, Jericho, can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph? And he just stares at the wall. You don't want to break character. But during WrestleMania 26 weekend, we met him. That was my buddy Dustin's birthday. He's with Fozzy, and he's all excited to meet Jericho, his favorite wrestler. And I went up to Chris Jericho, who was had the sourest of faces. And I said, hey, man, I hope you don't mind signing something old. I got something with your long hair. And even though you got a haircut, and you look kind of different, I hope you don't mind. I gave him this card of Edge to sign, and it was a WrestleMania his opponent that weekend. And Jericho looked at me, he looked at the card, and he held back a laugh. I could tell, and I was just like, yes, I broke him. So that is my Chris Jericho story. So it looks like a lot of people do like Coast to Coast. Cool. I listen to I don't listen to it anymore because it's on at midnight to 5 a.m. and I'm sleeping and getting ready for the show during the hours of midnight to 5 a.m. But I do listen to their Best of Best podcast every once in a while. Let's see. Kung Fu. We talked about the Mark Hamill thing earlier. People in the chat seem that think that it's a whatchamacallit, just him kind of like towing the company line. I think he's kind of lost it. I don't know why he would want to be on that side of it, because once this Star Wars shit dies off with Episode 9, he's always going to have a career, and there will be goodwill, but people will remember that kind of stuff. I remember Hulk Hogan's cameo in Gremlins 2. It's fantastic. It's one of his best. He's in the theater. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, Gremlins 2, there's a scene where they mess up a movie. Gremlins are in like this tower, and they do something, and the guy goes to this movie theater. He's like, maybe we can get some help. And it's Hulk Hogan in a movie theater in his wrestling gear with the title belt, I believe, watching a movie. And Hulk Hogan cuts a promo on a Gremlin talking about this cold soda and this hot popcorn, brother, and this good movie and all this shit. It's like breaking a fourth wall. It's pretty fun. Get Mick Foley. I'd love to get Mick Foley. That'd be fun to interview some wrestlers. I have a lot of questions that they'd probably get asked a lot, but I like to think of myself as, while I like wrestling, I'm not too much of a mark where I would buy into like some of the faker storyline aspects. I'd ask, day-to-day stuff, weird questions that don't get normally asked. Like, I don't know. I have a lot. I just don't really want to get it right now. Okay, so he did have the title belt on. Yep, that was Gremlins 2, folks. Go check out. After you're done watching this morning's Good Morning Pop Culture, go listen to, go type in Hulk Hogan Gremlins 2 and just watch it. I think it's like a minute long, but it's hilarious. Talk about best movie cameos. That's up there with Bill Murray and Zombieland is one of the best movie cameos of all time. Get James Rolfe on World Class Bullshitters. I think he would make it. I think he would enjoy being on the show. Remember, at that level, he'd have to watch more of what he says because he got that huge backlash over Ghostbusters 2 years ago. But I stood with him, liked the nerd the entire time. I think he has had much more longevity on YouTube than other people, because what happens is you get people that get something that works for them, and then they get so big and they get burnt out, so they do something else. It doesn't work, and then they bring back what works. That was the Angry Video Game Nerd. And now he's back to doing this more frequently. I watch them as soon as they come out. I think that is the very best YouTube series of all time. If YouTube were to die tomorrow, I'd be very fucked. But I would remember that the Angry Video Game Nerd was probably the best ever. Andy Goss, I am well. Dealing with a little bit of a cold here, but I can't complain. I just sound congested. A little tired too, but I was up, ate a delicious Jimmy Dean breakfast bowl, and now I'm here, and I'm just glad I don't have to go out and deal with the ice storm yet, because it looks like hell outside. But I'm nice and toasty. Get a crossover with James Rolfe, with bullshit series. I'd like to do that. You know what you guys can do? If you want me to do crossovers or interact with other people, all you guys got to do as a group is just tweet. I mean, if 5,000 tweets go to James Rolfe about World Class Bullshitters, he's going to click on it and see, what is it? The nerd is always welcomed here on this channel. There are some YouTubers that aren't. There are many that are. The Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe. Hell, even Mike Matei. Because they had a guy, Alpha Omega Sin. He used to cross with them, and I used to watch him a bit. Then he took a big break, and I don't know what happened. I didn't unsubscribe or stop watching out of anger. He just took a big break, and I forgot about it. But they did crossovers with him. I'd love to do crossovers with those guys. That'd be a lot of fun. Oh, Trent, good luck with the storm tonight. I didn't know Doomcock's video disappeared last night. I'll find out what's up. I don't even know what video he made, actually. AVGN is the most rewatchable series on YouTube. I agree. You can go back and watch episode 1 or whatever, 161 that was up. I could, if I had the time, I wouldn't mind sitting down with a drink or 20 and watching every nerd video in order to watch the evolution. And he had some gems early on, guys, like the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street double feature. Fantastic. Where he dressed up. And then the Bugs Bunny birthday blowout, where he poops on Bugs Bunny. Awesome. They're very juvenile humor, but it was really funny, and the production was better than a lot of stuff. And there was a million and one ripoffs of the Angry Video Game Nerd. None of them stuck. I mean, to this day, you have guys like Angry Joe, but I don't really consider Angry Joe a ripoff of the Nerd, just, an angry gamer type of thing. So I don't know who else has had the longevity. The Nostalgia Critic is dead to me. That I lost interest years ago when they had the Nostalgia Chick and this person, the Nostalgia Dog and the Nostalgia Helicopter and the Nostalgia Infinity Gauntlet, all those things. I just lost interest in that whole brand. Grand Inquisitor, I Too Am a Real American. I love that theme song, Rick Derringer. Havoc, we're going to do some crossovers with smaller channels soon to try to help people promote, especially Black Angus Reviews, Jeff the Iron Wolf, the Rookie Critic. Those three guys have found our channel, and then they became friends, and now they do their own stuff together. And that's the kind of story I think people need to hear. You find this channel, you find each other, you create content. So I'm a fan. You know who is a YouTuber that I'd like to actually cross over with, and it's real easy. All I got to do is send him an email, is Yellow Flash Comics. I like that guy's. His voice is very soothing, and he's always really up to date on his research. I'm a fan. I think he's a very good YouTuber. Secret Rebel. Do you know anything about Kelly Sue DeConnick? Feige made a comment about Captain Marvel. That's your inspiration for a run on Captain Marvel. I do know that. If you go back. And I will say this, I don't usually go on and on, oh, I knew this before you guys. I don't take pleasure in that. But in my defense, from the beginning of them talking about Captain Marvel, I knew it was based on the Kelly Sue DeConnick run, which I've said on the channel. So you'll have to go back and find it, but it is said publicly. I did know that. I look at it as the short-haired Captain Marvel that shows no skin. I don't need TNA in a comic book. We have the internet or real life, in my case, so it's not really a problem. But I did notice with Captain Marvel, the Kelly Sue DeConnick run, how it was, they're trying to make a stand. She's got that haircut and the up to her collar type of costume. I knew that's what they were going with. They don't allow sex appeal anymore. With Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow, and even Scarlet Witch played by Elizabeth Olsen, there's a little bit of eye candy for the guys. The ladies get it with Thor and all the gratuitous shirts off scenes, which are fine. I don't care. I'm not insecure. But the women superheroes from Marvel, they've always traditionally cast attractive people with certain types of features, and that can't act. I'm not denying that they're, actors. They're not. This isn't the 90s where they cast Pamela Anderson because she's got implants. But I did notice that the Kelly Sue DeConnick run was chosen because it's the feminist take on Captain Marvel, and I just don't care. The character's not that great to begin with. This is reaching. If they really were focused on great female superheroes, they would have paid the money or waited to do X-Men. And then you could have had Captain Marvel been in a movie, then tie it together with Rogue and all these other things. But the best Marvel female characters all come from X-Men. Rogue, Jean Grey, and Storm. Now, Jean Grey, her history is a little more murky than I'd like. I don't really look at her as a character that has this great emotional connection to the audience. Her and Cyclops had a relationship that worked. It was fine. She died. She didn't die. He was married to Madeline Pryor. They had a baby. X-Force is a very interesting book, or X-Factor, excuse me. Go check it out. But Storm, interesting. She becomes a queen. She was basically a thief. Then she becomes this goddess because they think she can control the weather. They worship her. Then she fights for the X-Men, and then she becomes a queen, married to Black Panther. All kinds of interesting topics. I like that. Or the thing. And then Rogue, to me, is the best. Why? Because the one thing she wants is the thing everyone else has. She can fly. She has superpowers, but she can't ever enjoy a human touch without hurting the other person. And I think a small thing like that makes her a much more interesting character than anything Captain Marvel will ever try to stand for. Captain Marvel can stand for feminist issue in 2018 or 19, whenever the movie comes out. She can stand for this, that, and justice. But no, Rogue, pining for basic human interaction, and her romance with Gambit and all these things are much more interesting on a human level. To me, that's a Stan Lee style touch. The Hulk or Peter Parker. Here's another thing about Spider-Man. He can go out and he can do these incredible things. He can fight crime. He can lift a car. He can save the day. But at the end of the day, he's a poor guy who has no money, who has to eat a can of beans and sleep in a cold apartment. There's that duality of the characters. They get these great, wonderful superpowers, but then they can't do one thing. Like, see, like Superman's perfect. Oh, I can't touch kryptonite. Yeah, but Clark Kent has a good life. Superman has his life. Batman, yeah, your mom's dead, your dad's dead, but you're a billionaire, and you can spend all your days fighting crime and going on this crazy idealistic crusade, much like Obi-Wan might have. But the Marvel characters have the good ones, the great ones have their duality, like the Hulk. You know, Bruce Banner, weak, has the greatest mind in the world, weak. When he's strong, can't control himself. There's just this little interesting thing that sets those characters apart. What does Captain Marvel have? I don't remember who I am. Okay. That's it. That is it. So thank you, Brie. Thank you. So she is SJW. That's Kelly Sue DeConnick. Is that the end of the MCU with inspiration from that? I do think it's that, because that, to me, the Kelly Sue DeConnick Captain Marvel run is indicative of the current SJW run that Diversity in Comics and all these other channels talk about. Those are the people, or that is the kind of book like that, and the Miles Morales Spider-Man and all these things. See, I don't have a problem with black superheroes or anything like that. My problem is when you take one superhero and you have too many derivatives. Like, I buy that Batman would have a Robin or a sidekick and then like a Batgirl. That's about it. But then you get into Red Robin and Nightwing and Tim Drake and Damian Wayne and Cassandra, whatever her name is, Cassandra Peterson is Elvira's real name, excuse me. But you get all these people, and it's just like the Bat family, and then it gets too much. With Spider-Man, it should just be one poor guy in a cloth suit fighting crime at a street level, just trying to make ends meet. When you have multiple versions of him, I hate it. I hate multiple worlds in any kind of comics that aren't DC. That is DC's jam. So all these things are the end. Thank you, Gamepad31. I appreciate that. So let's see. Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much. Jeff, go check out MBest 11 times Black Rifles Coffee's latest vid. They put out a 20 millimeter Vulcan cannon on a Toyota Prius, and the gun is used in most U.S. fighter jets. Okay, let me take a screenshot of that, Grand Inquisitor. I still got to redeem my, whatchamacallit, my gift card from you, by the way. Thank you again. I appreciate you very much. Let's see, turn off the selfie camera, and boom. There we go. I will check that out. I always like fun stuff like that. Joel used to watch that Russian dude, but I think they took his channel down or demonetized or something. I don't know. YouTube's a great place to have a business, but you got to watch out because stuff changes. Let me fix it for you, Yakov. I will fix that. Folks, by the way, this morning's show has been brought to you by T. Alan Diaz's Lunatic City series, as well as Yakov Merkin's Galaxy Ascendant series. I have to fix the link in the description, but I will fix that link as soon as we get off the air. But Yakov was on our military stream, our veteran stream the other day. He's a soldier. He's out there fighting for his country, and he's a writer. And if you guys love independent independent writing and art and stuff that's going to help change the future of the pop culture landscape, give those both a click and check them out. If you're one of those people out there that has a book or a project you'd like to get promoted, just email me, worldclassbs@mail.com, and we can make that happen for you. I'm all about helping out creators. I may not have 1 million subscribers, but I can definitely get my content in front of millions of people, which I have, and your stuff can get involved in that too. Get it right, Jeff. It's called Captain Misandry. Okay, sorry. Do you think we'll ever see an X-Men movie in the cinemas? Yeah, we will, Andy. We'll see an X-Men movie in the cinemas, but it won't be. I'm going to go with there's a 70-30 chance, 70 against 30% yes, for Phoenix actually getting released in cinemas. I think there'll be some kind of garbage. Maybe it'll get put on Disney Plus. There'll be some reason why that movie doesn't get a wide release. I'm just guessing that. New Mutants, that ain't ever getting released ever. I'm going to go with it's not coming out ever. If we get another X-Men movie, it's going to be a reboot or a reimagining with a black Cyclops, because those reasons. It's not like we can't pick from the actual black heroes or the actually gay heroes or this or that. We have to make the ones that are popular, that are going to make you money based on their name. We have to change them so we can appease this weird minority of people who don't give a shit about our attention or our product. Sire J. Longstroke says, victory. Viceroy Newt Gunray. Thank you, Sire J. Longstroke. You know, I laugh at how stupid Newt Gunray is and how dumb one of my friends is for having Newt Gunray action figures. I'm just putting that out there. There are some bad ones, but Newt Gunray. Weren't they Nemoidians because there's the Vulcans and the Nemoidians kind of like Kirk and Spock? Isn't that the joke? That's George Lucas humor. It's just not very good, but it's not offensively bad either. It's just, it didn't work. Cesario Japan, I have heard about the Ollie's Bargain Bin outlet getting all of those Marvel comics. We talked about it on the High Council, but to be fair, now, like I said, sometimes I say stuff, people unsubscribe. Oh, you said something I don't like. That's all I can say is, I'm true to myself and I'm true to what I say. To be fair, DC has, because I go to Ollie's quite frequently. There's a bunch in my area. That's where I filmed a lot of Star Wars videos. That's where I found a lot of really good stuff really cheap. I bought DC graphic novels and DC hardback books for pennies on the dollar, guys. Now, if you guys are trying to amass a comic book collection, the DC stuff they put out, I actually picked up at Ollie's real cheap a Return of the Jedi reprint. It was a graphic novel. They're usually $25. I got it for $6. It's hardback. It's the original Al Williamson artwork, recolored, and it's fantastic looking, and it's got extra pages and bonus stuff. It's the same stuff. I picked up a book called Batman Illustrated by Neil Adams. It's only like a $50 book. I got it for $3. I got Shazam, The Greatest Stories Ever Told, because the movie's coming out. I at least want to find out more about the character. I got those. You ever see those Best Buy exclusives where it's a trade paper, a hardback graphic novel, a DVD, a Blu-ray, and a digital code? I got that for Batman, Superman, Public Enemies. I got all kinds of stuff. I got these really nice old DC Archival Edition books that are normally $55, again, for $6. DC has done that first, but the Marvel comics are a different beast because the DC stuff are these books, and I don't really know how the distribution goes. These are older books too. None of them are super, super new. With the Marvel stuff, these are the newest books that just can't get sold. These double ships, these overships, all of these things are finding their way to Ollie's Bargain Outlet. And much like the Star Wars toys and all of these things, one, it makes Ollie's profile look better. They're shitty stores. They smell like cheap plastic. Their bathrooms aren't very great because I refuse to go in there after one bad experience. But the stores do have good stuff, super, super cheap. And these Marvel books, as soon as I go to an Ollie's and see it, I found Batman versus Spawn at the dollar store. I bought a shit ton. I have that book too. I don't know where I got it. Probably Half Price Bookstore. It's a fun book. I got a copy for Dion not too long ago because Dion's a big Spawn fan. If you guys ever want to send stuff to the P.O. Box for Dion, he likes Spawn a lot. And he likes Luke Cage to a degree. But Spawn is one of his favorite, if not his favorite heroes. So if you guys have anything cool Spawn related that you don't want anymore, send it to Dion. He'll freak out. Yes, Samuel Aragon, I found a glory hole. Is Hasbro trying to make... Oh, Hasbro's trying to make a Hasbro movieverse with Transformers, Mask, and G.I. Joe. Stranger things could work. You never know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. I know what Mask is, obviously. I didn't grow up watching it. G.I. Joe, they've kind of blown their load. I think you got to go overly patriotic to a degree, and you got to have Cobra be truly insidious. We'll see. I don't think G.I. Joe can have a comeback. It's weird, though, that Hasbro, if they want to make more money, they should merchandise G.I. Joe more. Maybe they think it's a bad political climate to make military-based toys. I disagree. Go where the money is. I don't care if I get some bad press on a website. If you put out 6-inch Black Series style G.I. Joe figures with a lot of accessories and a couple vehicles, you're going to make a fuck ton of money. Because the 80s kids are adults. Some of them are already retiring. Some of them have a ton of money. Some of them work hard, will spend money on your toys, and then let other things suffer. Go where the money is. Don't worry. If a toy comes with a realistic gun, it's 2018. Get over yourselves. A little Snake Eyes with weapons and shit, fine. Just fuck it. People will buy it. Put out Indiana Jones in 6-inch scale. I'll buy every one I see. Bumblebee getting his own origin movie? Yeah, that Bumblebee movie comes out, next month? Around Christmas with John Cena. I'm not going to watch it. Havoc, I saw the second G.I. Joe movie in theaters. I saw them both in theaters. The first one was a ripoff of Star Wars. The second one was forgettable. That's all I can say. Yes, Nathaniel Rourke, they had a douchebag. His name was Aubrey Sitterson, who was writing for G.I. Joe. Very poor choice. Now, I don't really lump myself in with the G.I. Joe passionate fan base, but Aubrey Sitterson used to work for THQ. He was one of the people involved with the wrestling game that I would buy. And him and a guy named Corey Ledesma were always really kind of douchey towards the fans. I hated them so much. Not like on an actual hate level, but I disliked them so much because they were just so adversarial towards the fans, and they just didn't get it. Like, the people that they hire for these things, they just don't get it. Let's see. They made G.I. Joe Adult Swim movie because it was awesome. John Cena's Captain America. I don't know. Do you guys like a bald spot in your Captain America? I don't. Chris Evans was great. I don't really know much of his personal politics. Probably don't care. Actually, don't care at all. Either way. But on screen, from what I'm able to hear, because the thing is, the stuff Chris Evans says doesn't reach me. So I'm ignorant to the fact. Not willfully. If it pops up and I see something stupid, believe me, I'll make a video. This isn't an attack on Captain Marvel because she's a lady. Not at all. It's because it's so overtly represented everywhere, and it's constant, it's a 3-strike rule. First was that bullshit with A Wrinkle in Time. Next, Captain Marvel, Rock the Vote. We know which way Rock the Vote leans. And then finally, this shit about Stanley. So sarcastic, so stupid, so poorly timed. That is why I will talk about her situation ad nauseum. It deserves to be brought to your attention, and it's something that is a problem. So, it's 10 o'clock. I think it's time to close this show out. So, folks, if you're wondering what we're going to be doing tonight on World Class Bullshitters, well, I can only give you a little bit of hint, but we're going to be talking a little bit about music. I asked the guys bring their 3 favorite songs just for something towards the end of our show, because one of our friends, Lauren Emerson, the voice that you hear on all of our videos, the World Class Bullshitters exclusive, she is a singer, and a great singer at that. So we're going to close out our show on the streaming service with her music tonight, and we're going to be doing a few other things. So we got that coming your way. We're going to be talking about all the biggest news stories. We'll hear what Stanley's death meant to Dion, because Dion and I are, brothers from another mother. Both love Stanley. He was our grandpa that we never knew. So it's going to be a very fun, hard-hitting episode, and I will hear what the guys have to say about the Brie Larson situation. So, Layden Swallow 09, I talked about Detective Pikachu on Tuesday's show. I talked about my whole history with Pokemon. So if you guys want to go back and find that, I find that you will be very entertained by it, because the older I get, my stance on Nintendo has softened. Maybe it's the nostalgia goggles, but I have found myself picking up Nintendo action figures and some games and stuff that I missed over the years. And I am interested in the Detective Pikachu movie based on the trailer. You guys can listen to that and hear more of my thoughts, but I'm not going to go start playing Pokemon games like Pokemon Go. That's all I can say. So, Darth Myrtle, I'm very sorry that you just got here. We're closing the stream out, folks. 7:45-ish, about 7:50 today. Needed a couple extra minutes to get prepared. But 7:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the West Coast, or on the West Coast, excuse me, this is a hard show to catch for you. I think I really do need to do something live in the evenings regularly. Like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of evening show, so I can catch more people and get you up to date and build the community that way. So if that's something you'd like, press 1. Darth Wesker, yeah, Figment Nintendo figures. It's funny, as soon as you say that, I'm looking at Link right here from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I never opened it up yet. I'm saving to move. That is my number one goal in life. If people say, Jeff, what are you trying to achieve? Get the fuck out of my neighborhood. Seriously, that is my goal. But I have bought myself a few things here and there, and I have a Figma look, and I'm looking at it right now. It is a fantastically beautifully sculpted toy, pristine paint, tons of accessories. I love Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I think it was an underrated Zelda game. See, the thing is, I'm not going to really be straining myself. I like doing this. The comic, I'm working on it all the time. That's the thing that takes the longest. It's that's the thing that don't stress me out, or excuse me, it doesn't stress me out. It just is the most arduous of processes. Making videos, performing live, and getting myself in shape are all things that require effort, but I love doing them so much that if you love something, guys, you don't really have to work, if you get what I'm saying. So that is what I'm saying about these live streams. The live streams require effort and stuff like that. Don't think I'm just half-assing it, because I don't. I've actually noticed something. I've been preparing a lot more for the show, and a lot more people are coming in now. So, cause and effect, baby. I get it. But I was thinking about a good evening section of Good Morning Pop Culture, kind of like a replay, but slightly different, so people can get involved, because I guess I don't look at it a certain way, but I'm starting to see it as I have so many fans that listen to the show from different walks of life, from different parts of the world, and people consume the channel differently. And I want to be able to hit on like the most core elements. So yes, we're in America. Yes, we're on the East Coast, or Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to really focus on Eastern Time, United States. But I do respect that people from all over the world listen to the show, and hopefully I can find people that listen at different times of the day in different parts of the world. So we're going to do more stuff. Now, next week for Thanksgiving week, not going to be too much coming from the channel. Got family stuff to do, so do you guys. We'll have Good Morning Pop Culture and the High Council, and that's really about it. I got to work on comic pages, send them out in chunks of 10 at a time to the colorist and then the letterer. And, I want to make sure you guys get your Stealing Solo in February, shipped out from here in February. So the only thing that will hold me up is if it takes a little longer to get the books printed, and that's something that's completely out of my control. So, guys, thank you to everybody who has made World Class Bullshitters a thing. I appreciate everyone that sticks with us. We're having a good time. It's a good ride, and the ride's just getting better. If you thought 2018 was good, wait till 2019 and beyond. But I will be back tonight with World Class Bullshitters, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time here on this channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell notification turned on. On the way out, don't let the door hit you in the ass, but hit that thumbs up button so you can come back and have more and reach more people, and have a wider World Class Bullshitters audience. And then tomorrow we'll close out the week, and then this weekend, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe a surprise, maybe not. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. There will be some comic work. There may be a live stream on a Saturday night. Who knows? Red Dead can come back. Anything can happen here on World Class Bullshitters. So don't miss out, and make sure you catch us the moment we go live. So thank you, and see you guys tonight.